Hi everyone, welcome to the One Code Camp channel. In this video, we are going to plunge into web development with Nodemon and Routes Explain. So if you're aiming to streamline your workflow and understand routes better, you are in the right track. So let's go and unravel Nodemon, navigate the world of routes, and clarify their role in guiding web traffic and creating efficient applications. Let's get started.
Hello guys, welcome to the continuation of our ExpressJS video tutorial series. So in this lesson, we are going to talk about Nodemon, and we're going to install Nodemon, and we will see how this particular tool can help us with the development of our server. After that, we are going to discuss endpoints and routing in our server, and we will be creating some routes in our website that will be handled by our server. So if you're excited, then let's continue and write our code. Hello guys, so before we proceed to our next lesson, let's first have a recap of what we have done from the previous video. And in the previous video, what we do is we created a server code right here. We installed Express, and then we import Express to this index.js. And then we run our server using the listen method available in the ExpressJS. And then we created a code to handle the GET request to the homepage, which is designated by this /. And every time the user visits this homepage, our server sends back the words "Hello World" right here. And if we run this particular server by issuing the command node space index.js, you can see here that it's now run on port 3000. And once we go to our browser and visit localhost 3000, we can see the words "Hello World" printed in our website. However, as also you noticed in the previous video, every time we change a code in our index.js, what we need to do is stop the server by pressing Ctrl+C and then executing again the command node index.js. So every time you make changes, you need to do that. You need to rerun the server. So it's a little bit annoying, and what we'll do is install an app called Nodemon, and then later we'll discuss more about routing. So now we are here in the website of npmjs.com. This is where we can see all of the packages available inside of the npm module. And one of those packages is Nodemon package. And what Nodemon does is it is basically a tool that helps develop Node.js based application by automatically restarting the Node application when file changes in the directories are detected. So which means that it automatically restart the server for us whenever we make changes in our code. So we don't need to issue the command Ctrl+C and then restart our server manually. Nodemon will practically do it for us. So in order for us to install Nodemon, what we can do is issue this command in our terminal, npm install -g, and then the package name. The -g here means that we are adding Nodemon globally so that we can use it to any particular project that we are currently doing. So basically what it does is we don't need to install Nodemon again on a different project. And if you created another project, then you can again use Nodemon without installing it, since it is installed globally. So now we can do is go back to our VS Code. For now, let's stop our server. And then we issue that command npm I for install, short for install, -g means global, and then the package that we want to install, which is Nodemon. Then press enter. So now we have our Nodemon successfully installed. So now we can use Nodemon in our current project, or in any project that we want to create in the future. So now we can use Nodemon, and for us to use Nodemon, we just simply type the command Nodemon space index.js, and we can immediately use it. We don't need to do some special setup or edit some settings in our current folder or directory. We just need to issue this particular command, then press enter. And as you can see, it says here that server is running on port 3000 and that our Nodemon is currently watching our index.js file. So now that we have Nodemon running, what we can do is edit some part of our code. Like in this part, in the app.get method to the homepage. So here we are currently sending the words hello world, but actually what we can do is, instead of sending just the hello world text right here or string, what we can do is actually enclose it in an h1 tag like this one, and let's put the closing tag like that one. So right now, instead of sending just the hello world text, now we are sending the hello world, which is a heading. So we, using this rest.send command or method, we can actually send HTML elements inside of it, and it will be rendered in our website. Before we proceed to the website, as you might have noticed down here, you can see that our server or our Nodemon is actually automatically restarting the server due to changes as it says here, and then it automatically start node index.js. So every time we do the change, we are restarting our server. So back in our browser, the changes are still not yet reflected. So we just refresh the page, and as you can see, instead of just sending a paragraph of hello world, this time we are sending the hello world in a heading format. So yeah, so that is the power of Nodemon.js or Nodemon that provides us this automatically restarted server everything we change a code. So you will be less bogged down by some processes like restarting the server every now and then once you change a code inside of your server. So it abstracts away some of the hard work or the annoying work for us, which is repeatedly restarting the server every time a code changes. So that is Nodemon, and we demonstrated how useful it can be. So moving on, we are going to discuss routes or routing. So before we proceed and create our own routes or endpoints, let's first talk briefly what are endpoints. So as you might have noticed, the only endpoint we are currently accessing now in our server is the endpoint /, which denotes the homepage or the home address of the website. So a good example of an endpoint, or how we can explain properly an endpoint is like, for example, you have a friend in Europe. So let's just Europe, something like that. So for example, you have a friend in Europe and you want to send a letter to that friend, and the address or the HTTP address that you want to access is the /Europe. So it's slash followed by the address or the endpoint of your friend that you want to send the mail to. So for example, if you have a friend in Africa, then you can send that particular letter using the HTTP address /Africa. And that is how an endpoint works in our server. So now that you know the basics of what endpoints are, then let's go back to VS Code and edit or revise our server code in index.js, and let's add some endpoints like about page and a contact page, and you will see also how we can access those particular endpoints. So going back on our code here for our server, what we can do is basically, I'll just comment it first. Our first to do is to add a route or endpoint that will handle the GET request /about, which can be designated as the about page of a certain website. The second one is to add a route or endpoint that will handle the GET request /contact. So this designates like the contact page of a certain website. So these two are our goals for today. So we will be adding a GET request for the about route or about endpoint, and for the contact endpoint. So let's start first with doing the GET request for the about page. So what we can do is let's put some line here first. And what I would do is I will just copy this piece of code, paste it right here. And instead of /, I will just put /about right here. And in the rest.send function, I'll just send the word about me. So once the user gets to this particular /about, then our server will send back this particular HTML element, which is a heading that has an about me word inside of it. So back in our browser, since we already have our server running, what we can do is go to the URL section, and the home page is currently showing hello world. And this time I want to go to the /about endpoint. And once I click enter, you can see here that it says about me. So let's go back to our VS Code and let me add some paragraphs inside of it. So what I can do is put some p right here, p tag, and inside of that p tag I will just put my name is Gabriel, and the server is automatically refreshed or restarted. And once we go back to our server, we can just refresh our browser, and you can see my name is added right here. So the next thing we need to do is to add a route or endpoint that will handle the GET request for /contacts. And again, I will just copy this piece of code and paste it right here. And I will change this to say /contact. And inside of the rest.send function, I will change this to contact me. And I will also add some p tag right here that says my number is 1234567. And let's go back to our browser. And now we'll check the contact route. Press enter, and as you can see here, it now sends me the contact me heading, and the paragraph, my number is 1234567. So now we have created two endpoints or route for our server, which is the about route right here and the contact route, which is right here. So these endpoints are particularly useful since it will help you plan ahead the navigation or the routing of your website in the future. So once a client or a user hits up this particular endpoint, for example, the about endpoint, then you can just render your contents for that particular about page or that endpoint. So it basically helps us on creating a multi-page website with multi-page navigation alongside of it. So this is the end of our session for this video. So I hope that you learned a lot on how to create routes or endpoints and how to use Nodemon so that we don't need to manually restart our server every time we make changes. And also, I hope that I could see you again on the next video of this ExpressJS series.